Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, is there any technical difficulty?
Prabhu, you're online. Go and so you can start the class.
Oh, okay, okay. So we are reading from second volume of Krishna book, chapter 6, the genealogical table of the family of Krishna. And we were reading, and the question was also raised, so I'm trying to get the answer. That 16,108 queens that Krishna married, and it mentioned that each queen had 10 sons. So the question was, is there any daughters? I think there was one that we verified, but I'm trying to find out. So I'll get back to you on that. I will read that 4 or 5 lines that we read, and then we will continue. Rukmi, the elder brother of Krishna's first wife, Rukmini, was greatly harassed and insulted in his fight with Krishna. But on the request of Rukmini, his life was saved. Since then, Rukmi have held a great grudge against Krishna and was always inimical toward him, like what we have done in our life. Nevertheless, his daughter was married with Krishna's son, and his granddaughter was married with Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha. That's where we stopped, because I think we went 5 minutes more than required. We didn't realize that it's already 7 o'clock yesterday, so we stopped abruptly. We didn't finish the paragraph. So we continue. This fact appeared to be a little astonishing to Maharaj Pariksit when he heard it from Shukdev Goswami. So I'm surprised, Pariksit Maharaj says, that Rukmi and Krishna, who were so greatly inimical to one another, could again be united by marital relationship between their descendants. Pariksit Maharaj was curious about the mystery of this incident, and therefore he inquired further from Shukdev Goswami on behalf of all of us. Because Shukdev Goswami was a practical yogi, nothing was hidden from his power of insight. A perfect yogi like Shukdev Goswami can see past, present, and future in all details. Mention that someone get completely purified, they get a lot of the qualities like Krishna's automatically. And we can see from this example. A perfect yogi like Shukdev Goswami can see past, present, and future in all details. Therefore, from such yogis or mystic, there can be nothing concealed. When Pariksit Maharaj inquired from Shukdev Goswami is answering as follows. Pradyumna, the eldest son of Krishna born of Rukmini, was Cupid himself. He was so beautiful and attractive that the daughter of Rukmi, namely Rukmavati, could not select any husband other than Pradyumna during her Swayamvar. Therefore, in that selection meeting, she garlanded Pradyumna in the presence of all other princes. When there was a fight among the princes, Pradyumna came out victorious, and therefore Rukmi was obliged to offer his beautiful daughter to him. Although a far-off enmity was always blazing in the heart of Rukmi because of his being insulted by Krishna's kidnapping of his sister Rukmini, when his daughter selected Pradyumna as her husband, Rukmi could not resist consenting to the marriage ceremony just to please his sister Rukmini. And so Pradyumna became the nephew of Rukmini. Beside the 10 sons described above, Rukmini had one beautiful daughter with big eyes, and she was married to the son of Krutavarma, whose name was Bali. Haribol. So that at least Rukmini had one daughter, as I think Rajeshwari Priya Mataji also confirmed yesterday. Although Rukmini was a veritable enemy of Krishna, he had great affection for his sister Rukmini, and he wanted to please her in all respects. On this account, when Rukmini's grandson Aniruddha was to be married, Rukmini offered his granddaughter Rochana to Aniruddha. Such marriage between immediate cousins is not very much sanctioned by the Vedic culture. But in order to please Rukmini offered his daughter and granddaughter to the son and grandson of Krishna. Haribol. In this way, when the negotiation of the marriage of Aniruddha with Rochana was complete, a big marriage party accompanied Aniruddha and started from Dwarka. They traveled until they reached Bhojkat, which Rukmini had colonized after his sister had been kidnapped by Krishna. This marriage party was led by the grandfather, namely Lord Krishna, accompanied by Lord Balram, Haribol, as well as Krishna's first wife Rukmini, his son Pradyumna, Jambavati's son Samba, and many other relatives and family members. They reached the town of Bhojkat, and the marriage ceremony was peacefully performed. The king of the Kalinga was a friend of Rukmini's, and he gave him the ill advice to play with Balram and thus defeat him in a bet. Amongst the Kshatriya king, betting and gambling is chess was not uncommon. If someone challenged a friend to play on a chessboard, the friend could not deny the challenge. That's Kshatriya. Shri Balramji was not a very expert chess player, and this was known to the king of Kalinga. So Rukmini was advised to retaliate against the family member of Krishna by challenging Balram to play chess. Although not a very expert chess player, Sri Balramji was very enthusiastic in sporting activities. So he accepted the challenge of Rukmini and sat down to play. Betting was with gold coins. That shows the richness. And Balram first of all challenged with 100 coins, then 1,000 coins, then 10,000 coins. Each time Balram lost and Rukmini became victorious. Continue hearing what had happened. Sri Balram's losing the game was an opportunity for the king of Kalinga to criticize Krishna and Balram. Thus the king of Kalinga was talking jokingly and purposefully showing his teeth to Balram. And because Balram was the loser in the game, he was a little intolerant of the sarcastic joking words. He became a little agitated. And when Rukmini again challenged Balram, he made a bet of 100,000 gold coins. Fortunately, this time, Balramji won the battle. Although Balramji had won, Rukmini, out of his cunningness, began to claim that Balram was the loser and that he himself had won. Because of this lie, Balramji became most angry with Rukmini. His agitation was so sudden and great that it appeared like a tidal wave in the ocean on a full moon day. Balram's eyes are naturally reddish, and when he became agitated and angry, his eyes became more reddish. This time he challenged and made a bet of 100 million coins. Haribol. Again, Balram was the winner according to the rules of the chase. But Rukmi again cunningly began to claim that he had won. Rukmi applied to the princess present, and he especially mentioned the name of the king of Kalinga. At that time, there was a voice from the air during the dispute, and it announced that for all honest purposes, Balram, the actual winner of this game, was being abused, and that the statement of Rukmi that he had won was absolutely false. Haribol. So, in spite of this divine voice, Rukmi insisted that Balram has lost. And by his persistence, it appeared that he had death upon his head, falsely puffed up by the ill advice of his friend. He did not give much importance to the oracle, and he began to criticize Balramji. And what did he say? My dear Balramji, you two brothers, cowherd boys only, may be very expert in tending cows, but how can you be expert in playing chess or shooting arrow on the battlefield? These arts are well known only to the princely order. Haribol. Hearing this kind of pinching talk by Rukmi, and hearing the loud laughter of all the other princes present there, Lord Balram became as agitated as burning cinders. He immediately took a club in his hand and without any further talk struck Rukmi on the head. From that one blow, Rukmi fell down immediately and was announced dead and gone. Thus Rukmi was killed by Balram on the auspicious occasions of Aniruddha's marriage ceremony. So these things are not very uncommon in Kshatriya society, and the king of Kalinga, being afraid that he would be the next to be attacked, fled from the scene. And before he could escape even a few steps, however, Balramji immediately captured him. And because the king was always showing his teeth while criticizing Balram and Krishna, broke all his teeth with his club. The other princes who were supporting the king of Kalinga and Rukmi were also captured, and Balram beat them with his club, breaking their legs and hands. They did not try to retaliate, but thought it wise to run away from the bloody scene. So during this strife between Balram and Rukmi, Lord Krishna did not utter a single word, for he knew that if he supported Balram, Rukmini would be unhappy. And if he said that the killing of Rukmi was unjust, then Balram would be unhappy. Therefore, Lord Krishna was silent on the death of his brother-in-law Rukmi on the occasion of his grandson marriage. He did not disturb either his affectionate relationship with Balram or with Rukmini. After this, the bride and the bridegroom were ceremoniously seated on the chariot, and they started for Dwarka, accompanied by the bridegroom's party. The bridegroom's party was always protected by Lord Krishna, the killer of the Madhu demon. Thus they left Rukmi's kingdom, Bhojkat, and happily started for Dwarka. What a wonderful pastimes. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the second volume, sixth chapter of Krishna, the genealogical table of the family of Krishna. Now, chapter 7, the meeting of Ushra and Aniruddha. The meeting of Aniruddha and Ushra, which caused a great fight between Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva, is very mysterious and interesting. So Maharaj Parikshit was anxious to hear the whole story from Sukadeva Goswami, and thus Sukadeva Goswami narrated. He starts saying, "My dear king, you must have heard the name of King Bali. He was a great devotee who gave away in charity all that he had, namely the whole world, to Lord Vamandev, the incarnation of Vishnu as a dwarf Brahmana. King Bali had 100 sons, and the eldest of all of them was Banasur. This great hero Banasur, born of Maharaj Bali, was a great devotee of Lord Shiva and was always ready to render service unto him. Because of his devotion, he achieved a great position in society, and he was honored in every respect. Actually, he was very intelligent and liberal also, and his activities are all praiseworthy because he never deviated from his promise and word of honor. He was very truthful and fixed in his vow. In those days, he was ruling over the city of Sonitapur by the grace of Lord Shiva. Banasur had 1,000 hands, and he became so powerful that even demigods like King Indra were serving him as most obedient servant. Haribo. I got to keep an eye on the watch. Haribo. Long ago, when Lord Shiva was dancing in his celebrated fashion called Tandava Nritya, for which he is known as Nataraj, Banasur helped Lord Shiva in his dancing by rhythmically beating drums with his 1,000 hands. And Lord Shiva, as well known as Asutosh, very easily pleased by this action of Banasur. And he is also very affectionate to his devotees. He is a great protector for person who takes shelter of him and is the master of all living entity in this material world. Being pleased with Banasur, he said to Banasur, "Whatever you desire, you can have from me, because I'm very much pleased with you." In response, Banasur replied, "My dear Lord, if you please, you can remain in my city just to protect me from the hands of my enemies." Haribol. That's why we see that all the nice places always Lord Shiva protect from all four directions. So once upon a time, Banasur came to offer his respect to Lord Shiva. And by touching the lotus feet of Lord Shiva with his helmet, which was shining like the sun glow, he offered his obeisances unto him. While offering his respectful obeisances, Banasur speak to Lord Shiva as follows. My dear Lord, anyone who has not fulfilled his ambition will be able to do so by taking shelter of your lotus feet, which are just like this artery. One can take from them anything he desires. My dear Lord, you have given me 1,000 arms, but I do not know what to do with them. Please pardon me. But it appears that I cannot use them properly in fighting. I cannot find anyone competent to fight with me except your lordships, the original father of the material world. Sometimes I feel a great tendency to fight with my arms, and I go out to find a suitable warrior. Unfortunately, everyone flees, knowing my extraordinary power. Being baffled at not finding a match, I simply satisfy the itching of my arm by beating them against the mountains. In this way, I tear my great mountains to pieces. Haribol. So, hearing this, Lord Shiva realized that his benedictions had become troublesome for Banasur and addressed him as follows. So, they always give some boon and then they regret it. You rascal, you are very eager to fight, but since you have no one to fight with, you are distressed. Although you think that there is no one in the world to oppose you except me, I say that you will eventually find such a competent person. At that time, your days will come to an end, and your flag of victory will no longer fly. Then you will see your false prestige smashed to pieces. Haribol. So after hearing Lord Shiva's statements, Banasur became very puffed up with his power. This is the problem. Any material things that we have is impediment to our devotional practice. Strength, wealth, beauty, renunciation, strength, fame, name, all these things is really impediment. So he was elated that he would meet someone who would be able to smash him to pieces. So Banasur then returned home with great pleasure, and he always waited for the day when that suitable fighter would come to cut down his strength. He was such a foolish demon. It appeared that foolish demoniac human beings, when unnecessarily overpowered with material opulences, want to exhibit these opulences. And such foolish people feel satisfaction when these opulences are exhausted. Because in this material world, nothing is eternal. Everything is temporary. The idea is that they do not know how to expend their energy for right cause, being unaware of the benefit of Krishna consciousness. Haribol. Actually, there are two classes of men. One is Krishna conscious and the other is non-Krishna conscious. The non-Krishna conscious men are generally devoted to the demigods, whereas the Krishna conscious men are devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna conscious person utilize everything for the service of the Lord, and the non-Krishna conscious person utilize everything for sense gratification. And Banasur is the perfect example of such a person. He was very anxious to utilize for his own satisfaction his extraordinary power to fight. Not finding any combatant, he struck his powerful hand against the mountains, breaking them into pieces. In contrast to this, Arjuna also possessed extraordinary power for fighting. But what did he do? He utilized them only for the sake of Krishna. This is the lessons we should learn. How much are we using in Krishna's service? We should dwell on this point. So Banasur had a very beautiful daughter whose name was Usha. When she had attained the age of marriage and was sleeping amongst her many girlfriends, she dreamed one night that Anuruddha was her side and that she was enjoying a conjugal relations with him. Although she had never actually seen him nor heard of him before, she awoke from her dream exclaiming very loudly. What did she say? My dear beloved, where are you? Being exposed to her other friend in this way, she became a little bit ashamed. One of the Usha's girlfriend was Chitralekha, who was the daughter of Banasur's prime minister. Chitralekha and Usha were intimate friends, and out of great curiosity, Chitralekha asks, my dear beautiful princess, as of yet, you are not married to any young boy, nor have you seen any boy until now. So I'm surprised they are exclaiming like this. Who are you searching after? Who is your suitable match? Haribol. I don't know, the Chitralekha is the same, but the one of the Sakhi that always goes with Srimati Radharani to cook the breakfast for Nanda Maharaj's son, dear Krishna. We will see if that's the same person. On hearing Chitralekha's inquiries, Usha replied, my dear friend, in my dream, I saw a nice young man who is very, very beautiful. His complexion is swarthy. His eyes are just like lotus petals, and he is dressed in yellow garments. His arms are very long, and his general bodily features are so pleasing that any young girl would get attracted. I feel much pride in saying that this beautiful young man was kissing me, and I was very much enjoying the nectar of his kissing. I'm sorry to inform you that just after this, he disappeared, and I have been thrown into the whirlpool of the disappointment. My dear friend, I'm very anxious to find this wonderful young man, the desire, Lord of my heart. After hearing Usha's word, Chitralekha immediately replied to Usha as follows. I can understand your bewilderment, and I assure you that if this boy is within these three worlds, the upper, middle, and the lower planetary systems, I must find him for your satisfaction. Haribol. So if you can identify him from your dream, I shall bring you peace of mind. Now, let me draw some pictures for you to inspect. And as soon as you find the picture of your desired husband, let me know. It doesn't matter where he is. I know the art of bringing him here. So as soon as you identified him, I shall immediately arrange for it. Now let me see how big the next paragraph is. I think we should be able to finish one more paragraph. Chitralekha, while talking, began to draw many pictures of the demigod inhabiting the higher planetary systems. Then pictures of the Gandharvas, Siddhas, Charanas, Panagas, Daityas, Vidyadharas, and Yakshas, as well as many human beings. The statement of the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literature prove definitely that on each and every planet there are living entities of different varieties. Therefore, it is foolish to assert that there are no living entity but those on this earth. Prabhupada, when they landed on the moon, everywhere is the people are residing. So Chitralekha painted many pictures. Among those of the human being was the Vrushni dynasty, including Vasudeva, father of Krishna, Sursena, the grandfather of Krishna, Sri Balramji, Lord Krishna, and many others. When Isha saw the picture of Pradyumna, she became a little bashful. But when she saw the picture of Aniruddha, she became so bashful that she immediately lowered her head and smiled. Having found the man she was seeking, she identified the picture to Chitralekha as that of a man who had stolen her heart. Perfect time, 6:55. We should stop here with wonderful narration. What a beautiful story is it, right? This Krishna book is so wonderful. Throughout the day we can picture those pastimes. So with those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. As Ramapat Swami Maharaj says, there should be no danger in our life once we surrender to Krishna. With that assurance, I would like to offer my humble obeisances to all these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who join taking so many austerities every morning from Houston, from Fresno, Connecticut. Advaita Chandra Prabhu, he wrote me yesterday that in summertime, from the work he has to travel so much. And Prabhu's mother-in-law is sick. So let's pray for mother-in-law for at least 10 seconds. We wish Krishna can help. So Prabhu wrote me for summertime it would be difficult, but whenever he will find some opportunity, he will join. He was so steadfast. So nice to see in Naperville. Actually, what happened was that after the Japa retreat, I was sharing this band. It says, "My life belongs to Krishna." The blue for the Prabhus and pink for the Matajis. And then I distributed all of them. And then this is the great devotee Advaita Chandra Prabhu approached me and he said, "Prabhuji, can you give me that band? I also want one." And I told him first that Prabhu, all this band has been distributed. Then I look at my hand and I have that one, so I take it out from my hand. Prabhuji was so happy. Since then he has been joining. Haribol. From Aurora, Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Phoenix, Tempe, Austin, College Station, San Jose, Portland, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Alachua, Orlando, Sanford, Jacksonville, Loganville, Georgia, Maine, Ottawa, New Orleans, Toronto, Kolkata, and Pondicherry. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaya patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Tomorrow is Saturday. We'll be chanting from 2 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at least. If Krishna so desired, we can plan anything we want unless it's sanctioned. And I really apologize. I was telling everyone, how can you be late by 1 minute? So today, Krishna teach me a lesson. I woke up at 1:07 a.m. My alarm set for 1:21 a.m. So I used the little restroom and I said, I turn it off the alarm clock. That okay, a few minutes I lay down a little bit. Maybe my body needs some rest or something, I don't know. Or maybe it's like to crush my pride that I feel I can join every single day. So then somehow or other I have a sweet sleep until 1:53 am, and then suddenly my eyes caught up that I knew that I have overslept. That was for sure. So I just jump out of the bed, but I want to take shower and everything, and I was late by half an hour. So this shows that we are really, really so fallen. Unless and until we get the mercy of those personality, we cannot maintain our vow. We always need and we should seek out the mercy of those person who has that. Otherwise, it's impossible. So many things can come on their way. I should have wake up, and start doing it. But I was thinking, I don't know, maybe my body needs some rest or something. I said, I'll lie down. And what I lie down for more than 30, 40 minutes. So those things happen, I think. Always it has happened in my life.